Welcome to the Dawgs Table. Hosted by Craig Fountain and
Angelo.
Get access to special guests. Anyone can join the Dawgs Table. Find the link to join the show in the comments when we go live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope, and everywhere on the BIGPLAY network.
Welcome to the Dawgs Table. I'm your host, Craig Fountain, here with Ryan Angelo. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good, buddy. How are you? Welcome on back.
Oh, you got that volume up, don't you?
I do. You like that?
Yeah. So we are here. We are the Dawgs Table. I'm Craig Fountain. I'm one of your hosts here with Ryan Angelo, your other host. We are brought to you by Labatt Blue Light and Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. You can find us everywhere Big Play is found. We are a Cleveland Browns roundtable discussion show that goes live every Tuesday, now at 9 p.m. This is our first night at our later time slot. Red Light, thanks for joining the show. Craig Foster, how you doing, buddy? Norman, as always, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Guys, you can talk to us in the comments. We will display your comments live. We will interact with them, answer your questions. You can bring up topics later in the show. This isn't just for me and Ryan to talk, to ourselves. We want to talk with you. We will post a link in the comments. You can come on the show and you can talk Browns with us via video chat. So keep an eye out for the link in the comments. We will let you know when that happens. Red Light says, love the hat. I have my hat here also as well. We will let you guys know when we're doing another order. These are custom made, so we will do group orders for these. It's not merch that we can keep around. So we'll let everybody know. DM us if you want to be on the list to be notified when they go live. We are getting into football season. Training camp is here. And God, you know what, guys? I've been telling Ryan, I'm tired of talking about the same things over and over and over and over again. Give me something good to talk about, something new. I'm excited the training camp's here. We're going to have battles. We're going to have news, hopefully good reports out of training camp. Craig says, I'm going August 5th. Craig, that's going to be a blast. Norman, thank you. We appreciate it. And we do have other merch available. We have hoodies and t-shirts and things like that. I will post a link in the comments to that a little bit later as well. Red Leg, I know you've got some. I think, Craig, you've got some. We've actually sold quite a bit of merchandise, so we appreciate your guys' support. Ryan, how was your week?
It was good, bud. I have to tell you that I was I was missing our viewers for the week that we were off. It was like a bad habit that I just couldn't kick. So I was dying not doing the show last week, but I survived. It was boring, not too much going on. My little guy is starting tackle football this year, and I'm his head coach. So we've had a busy couple of weeks getting stuff ready for that. So, but other than that, it was a good week. You?
Outstanding. And, I love this video that Chad's bringing up here. You'll see that Chubb video, bar bending. Listen, the dude is a monster, and I love seeing these videos every single time. The only thing running through my head is please don't get hurt. But we've seen him lifting weights in the offseason over and over again. He's clearly gaining. And, it's only going to make him that much more of a beast. I can't wait to see what his strength and conditioning does for him. Every year he just seems to get better. So I'm hoping this year we see the same results as well. Hopefully Watson gets a 6-game suspension, but it would be nice if he got 0 games. Red Lake says that goes through my head as well. Craig, is a Browns fan. You take the other stuff out of it just as a purely football fan. The best case scenario for the Browns is 0 games. That would be nice to not have to wonder who the starting quarterback is. I do not want to see Jacoby Brissett. You guys know this. Ryan's a little more optimistic than I am. I asked the audience, Ryan, did you read through the thread when I asked Miami fans and Indianapolis fans to weigh in on Jacoby Brissett?
No, because I avoided it on purpose. So
okay, all right. It was a dumpster fire. Not a whole lot of Browns fans engaged with the tweet. It got a massive amount of engagement, but I could tell Browns fans were avoiding it because, listen, I've been told time and time again, and I get it, and I'm trying to bring myself to do it along with a lot of you guys but the number one thing is a Browns fan. The number one step to being a Browns fan is overvaluing your current players. Ryan, that's a subtle shot. But Norman says tsunami bar is what Chubb used. Yeah, it's supposed to be, but let's not pretend that wasn't an enormous amount of weight. Did you see the Cleveland Browns posting photos? They replaced the bar with things that weigh 610 pounds. That was hilarious. What a
it's all fun and games until somebody snaps a leg in half.
Right. So, not a whole lot's been going on. We are going to rely on you guys. If you have questions, post them in the comments. I'm going to post the link soon. I know Barry's already bugging me for the link. But we do have a couple things. Denzel Ward opens training camp on the physically unable to perform list, as well as Jack Conklin. So we added some depth at cornerback. Obviously, we spent our first pick in the draft. It was in the 3rd round, but we spent it on Martin Emerson. We're working on having good depth there. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. Norman, beware of the fake honorable Stu Robinson tweeter. Listen, I caught this right away, but I think this account got a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people fell for this, I think. But so Denzel Ward, you commented on Twitter earlier. You said he's brittle. Let's just get ready for the regular season. I have faith that if he's healthy for the regular season, we'll be good to go. Jack Conklin. All right. Let's talk about Jack Conklin. Jack Conklin is an all-pro right tackle. The man is a beast. He is one of the very best at what he does, and that's why we acquired him. That being said, he's missed a lot of time. Is it time to move on from Jack Conklin, or do we just hope and pray that we get the most out of him as possible? Because this is a discussion that's actually been coming up since this news broke.
I don't know if we should get rid of him. I mean, what are we going into year 3 with him now?
Yeah, I believe year 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think nothing to panic about yet. He had a rough year. It's the NFL. Everybody has injury issues. But, when it starts to become an issue where it's, multiple injuries, back-to-back years and things like that, I give him the benefit of the doubt for last year. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I haven't given up faith on old Jack yet.
All right. So Chad Langtees is asking, we want to hear your projections for Perion Winfrey on the depth chart as we enter camp. Perion Winfrey is God, this is to me like, I want him to light the world on fire. I want him to come out of the gate and be an impact player. Ultimately, I think he'll be depth. I think that you've got Jordan Elliott there, Taven Bryant, those are going to be the top 2 guys. And then I think Perion Winfrey is going to be your guy after that. Ryan, what do you think?
I agree. I think he's going to start off in the depth chart for sure. I think that he probably has a better. I don't know. I think he has an opportunity to take over either of those guys' positions, to be honest with you, because I don't considerably like either Brian or Elliott. So, I've been clamoring all offseason that they need to go out and get a veteran at the position along with the wide receiver spot. So, I would not be shocked by the end of the year if he's playing significant minutes or even starting at the position, just because those two guys are not going to be Pro Bowlers for you at that position. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And Craig says Winfrey, I think, will switch in and out with Elliott. The rest of you guys, let us know where you think Winfrey will fall on the depth chart in the comments. That's something that we can certainly discuss. Norman adds here that Bell is on the physically unable to perform list too, which is absolutely true. And, it is during the early part of training camp. The best thing we can do is get this team as healthy as possible before the start of the regular season. Hopefully these aren't nagging injuries for these guys. Hopefully we rest them, they come back, they're good as new, and we can go from there. And I don't know, we do have some trauma, right? Training camp trauma from the past 10, 15, 20 years, everything from LaCharles Bentley going down on the first snap of training camp after he got that massive contract and we badly needed a center. We've had a number of issues over the years
for sure,
that have haunted us in training camp. So it's kind of like you hold your breath. We're excited because football is here, but we're holding our breath because we want all these guys to be ready when the regular season starts. Hoping he stays healthy and these nagging injuries don't come back. I think he's referencing Greedy Williams. And Greedy is a guy that, yeah, absolutely. We need depth because Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, these guys are going to miss games or parts of games. It's going to happen. Martin Emerson, some of this depth we have at cornerback is badly needed. Badly needed. So that's a good thing. Ryan, any thoughts on the defensive line besides with Winfrey? I mean, we obviously have Garrett and Clowney. Anything we're watching for on the defensive line or on the defensive side of the ball? What should we be looking for on the defensive side of the ball here going into training camp?
I think the biggest thing is going to be the ability to stop the run. You've got to, and that's going to be a huge thing this year just because of the unknowns at the defensive tackle position. You're bringing in a guy that was drafted pretty decently high who really hasn't performed to his potential at this point. And then you've got somebody else like Elliott who has kind of been in the rotation, and has he really performed to his potential at this point? Not really. So, I mean, you get two unknown guys that are starting there that you're expecting to play significant minutes for you. And I got to tell you, I am extremely nervous about stopping the run. I think we're going to get gashed up the middle. I think we're going to get pushed around. I am not looking forward to it. Just because you get a lot of times where, you've got Garrett and Clowney on the edge, and those guys are rushing the quarterback pretty much probably, 85, 90% of the time, right? So they're normally running past the run play, and we're hoping that the defensive tackles and linebackers are going to take up that middle of the field. Well, if you got defensive tackles that are getting pushed over like, middle school kids, it's going to be difficult to stop the run. So ideally you would like to get at the line of scrimmage and not let your linebackers and back be the responsibility there. So it's going to be interesting. That's my biggest fear. I really, really, really hope they get somebody else for the defensive line for the deep tackle spot, but it doesn't look like they're doing it right now. It could be somebody could come in, later on down the line, but I'm still clamoring for Sue. I want him. I think he would be a no-brainer to add to this line. It shocks me that they haven't pulled that trigger yet, but we'll see. That's my concern about the defense for sure.
Yeah, and Redleg says, great point by Craig. Togiai kind of disappeared last season. Hopefully he's just sucking up knowledge like a sponge. My expectations for him are tempered a little bit. We need him to be a solid depth piece, somebody to fill in, be a rotational guy. He does have some skill sets, and I would encourage you guys to head over to dawgstable.com. Sometimes search for Matt Wilson's articles on the defensive line. He's done an excellent job at breaking down some of the defensive techniques and the things that sets these guys apart from one another. Matt Wilson, you may be familiar with him from our draft special if you tuned into that, but outstanding knowledge on the offensive and defensive line play. For me, I would love to see Sue also. It certainly goes against Andrew Berry's kind of MO, I guess you would say. But I think that it needs to be done. And Clowney is here for a reason, right? He's excellent in the run game. He's not just going to be a sacks guy, right? He's outstanding in the run game. So he's going to play a role in that. I definitely do agree with you, though. Like, the middle of this defensive line is the weak spot on this defense. 100% the weak spot on this defense. And you know what? There's two position groups on offense that make me nervous. One of them's the offensive line. That's not a popular take these days, but maybe we'll get into that. Hold on one second. Let me get rid of this line.
I see you, Darren. I didn't see it. I don't know if you put this up the first time, but I was in the middle of my take there. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Love you.
All right. And so offensive side of the ball. What are your weaknesses there? I mean, I think wide receiver is a weak spot. I think the offensive line could be catastrophic for us this year. I think that the offensive line is our biggest issue. Ryan, what do you think about on offense?
Definitely offensive line. If we get an injury, a major injury on the offensive line, it's going to significantly change things for us on offense. I think, you got Wills. We're not sure if he's going to stay healthy or not. We're not sure if we're going to see 100% effort out of him from game to game. You got Conklin. He's already on the PUP list, so you don't know if he's going to be healthy or how healthy he will be once the season starts, or if he's going to stay healthy. And then you've got the new guy, Nick Harris, at center. You got rid of a very good player in J.C. Treader. I really, really hope they know what they're doing, because Nick Harris better be ready to go, because that's, the quarterback of the offensive line. And J.C. Treader did a lot of things for that offensive line. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But yeah, I mean, a major injury there, a Teller goes down for significant time, or Batonio. I mean, you're talking about a significantly downgraded line at that point. And wide receivers, everybody knows how I feel about wide receivers. I caution you. I know there's a lot of people out there with the analytics that say that, it's going to be the year for DPJ, and, Watson's going to elevate everybody, and we're going to be just fine. But I caution you to jump on that, because we have not seen a lot out of those guys yet. And if you're expecting, Schwartz to come in and play significant minutes for this team and score 10 touchdowns this year, it's not going to happen. We've only seen the guy run fly routes so far in the NFL. So I'm concerned. I mean, the offense definitely makes me nervous. I think they're going to probably rely heavy on that run game and hope it carries them. But I really, really wish they would go out and make a trade or pick up somebody to bring in that wide receiver room, because, it needs somebody bad.
Yeah. And, I'm with you there. I would caution you, everybody not to be too optimistic with the wide receiver core. The offensive line is far better on paper than the wide receiver room, but like you mentioned, one injury on the offensive line could completely change the landscape of how our offense operates. Especially without Watson in there, assuming that we're going to see some Brissett in there. Brissett isn't a Lamar Jackson, right? Like, we don't want him running around like crazy. He is not a mobile quarterback or a running quarterback or a dual threat quarterback, in my opinion. He is probably as mobile or close to as mobile as Baker Mayfield was, but that doesn't mean he's an improviser, right? So, to me, he needs that time to be able to step back, make his reads, and that's where you get the efficiency that everybody wants to talk about. He's efficiency. He's going to not throw interceptions. If he has to run around for his life, he's not going to be efficient. He's not going to be able to get through his reads. And you know what? If you talk to some of you guys avoided it this week. I asked Miami fans and Indianapolis fans how they felt about Brissett. A lot of you guys I know didn't go through that thread because you don't want to read it, but he's known as a one read guy. So, if we're going to get him to go through his progressions, he's going to need time. It doesn't even have to be Teller or Bitonio. Nick Harris, we have to be cautious not to overvalue Nick Harris. He's an unknown. Just because the Browns said we're moving on from Treader doesn't mean that they're anointing him the next JC Treader. They certainly see a spot for him on this line, or feel that moving on from Treader provided us with a reasonable amount of savings, and they're willing to roll the dice with Harris. But that doesn't mean he's a JC Treader. Jedrick Wills has a lot to prove this year, and he needs to play when his ankle's hurt. If he doesn't do that, we're gonna be moving on. Jack Conklin, we're gonna get a few games out of him. Hopefully, we get most of the season out of him. But if it's not going to take more than one injury to really mess up the dynamic we have with the offensive line. Great on paper, starting lineup, and we've seen it in the past. It's not always going to be what it looks like. So, I think we really have to be optimistic, but cautiously optimistic. All right.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Did we? I don't think we've really even discussed the Treader issue or release on the show together. To me, it was a huge shock. I don't really think they saved like that much money where it was a place they had to do it right now. It was kind of shocking that they did make that move to me. Like, I know they're saying that they think Harris is ready, but like, he's such a good center in the NFL. And I was just really shocked that it happened as soon as it did. Like, it just didn't seem like it was a pressing issue right now that it needed to happen.
He was called out as kind of like a potential cap casualty beforehand. Like, so I kind of, I've a couple places heard that a couple places. I'm like, all right. I mean, it kind of makes sense. And then you look at all the moves we've made and the money we've handed out, and we've seen the kind of cap space we still have, right? Like, we have this massive budget of available money that we're working with. And, I'm on the salary cap as a myth train because
for sure.
I don't understand it. We have almost the most cap space in the NFL somehow after handing out all this money. But, it's crazy. Barry, I see you down there in the dog pen. I'll get to you in just a moment here. But yeah, to me, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen us roll with Treader this year. And Chad says there will be some big name wide receiver casualties. We will sign someone. I hope we do. And there's not much on the open market right now. Right. We saw Julio Jones get a deal with Tampa Bay today. He got a 1-year deal. He's going to be down there with Brady. I was telling Ryan before the show, like, find me a way to get Scotty Miller on the Browns. I would love to see Scotty Miller have a death roll on the Browns. I don't know what it is about that guy. I love that guy. But
we don't need a team full of Scotty Miller sized guys. No, we don't.
No. That's the other part of it. You know what? And Ryan, you're right. And be cautious with your optimism with Anthony Schwartz and stuff like that. Some of these guys are raw, right? Yeah. They're not going to develop in 1 year. We got a lot of comments, so I'm not trying to cut that conversation short, but let's see what else we got. Did you see the projections for our record? I call BS 6-11. Really, I have us at least 11-7. Listen, I'm not a huge fan of the record projection game. With that being said, there's too many unknowns to call it. However, if Watson's out more than 4 games, I think that we would be fortunate to go 9-8. Honestly, guys, listen, we're in a tough division. We're in a tough conference. This could be a layup. Brissett quarterbacking the Browns versus the Jets, still not a layup. All right. We are going to lean heavily on the defense, and the offense has to put it together. And I am nervous. Guys, it's so easy to get excited and say, we're gonna do this or we're gonna do that. Be careful.
Yeah. I think the magic number is 6 on that.
What do you think?
I think the magic number is 6. I think that you're any more than 6 games, it significantly can impact the season. I think if we have 6 or under, I think we'll be all right. We'll pull out of that. But I mean, you're talking about bringing in a quarterback that hasn't played for a year and putting him on a new team with new personnel, and several new guys at key positions on the field. So There's going to be growing pains, but I really think anything more than 6, I'll get nervous. But if it's 6 or less, I think they're going to be able to recover from that, especially if it's 4. If it's 4, I think that's the best. I mean, obviously 0 is the best case scenario, but if it's 4, I can deal with 4. To me, that's not too bad because it can take a team 4 weeks to start gelling anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and guys, I see the rest of your comments. We're going to get to you. Barry, thanks for joining the show, taking a break from the hookers and blow. You're not from the Boo Boo Bus tonight, so we don't got any sirens or anything going off in the background. How do you feel about this year? Again, I'm not a huge fan of the record projection game, and you guys are more than welcome. Chad, Chris, Craig, Redleg, Norman, Darren, all you guys, give me your projections in the comments. I'd love to see them. It's not my favorite game, but I'm always curious to see where everybody's at. What about you, Barry? Where are you at on that?
On our record?
Yeah, I mean, we have some unknowns, but like we were just talking, let's say Watson gets 4 to 6 games.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know what to expect.
Here's where this is coming from, Barry. Was it CBS or Full? Oh, he's out. He got disconnected. So CBS or FanDuel or somebody posted their power rankings. Craig, I don't know if you remember, if you could post it where you saw it. Somebody posted their record projections, and they projected the Browns were going to be, I think, 3rd in the AFC North, and they were going to have us at 6 and 11. And it upset a lot of people. So, what do you think about that? Are we in danger of having that disastrous of a season?
Yeah, we are.
Barry?
Absolutely. First, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we definitely are. You got to figure the only team that's down in the division is going to be Pittsburgh, and you never even know, they might catch lightning in a bottle with Pickett. But Baltimore's a good team. Cincinnati's obviously a good team. So you got 4 games against them. Plus, like you said, the rest of the NFC is tough, and you don't even know what's going to happen with Watson yet. So yeah, I mean, I think 6 and 11 is a reasonable prediction. I mean, I think it could be. I mean, say Watson misses 8 games, which is what everybody's thinking. I mean, most of like these national, websites are saying 8 games. That's half a season. So even if they go 4 say at the best case scenario, they go 4-4. Okay, so and then Watson comes back with another 9 games, and say they go 6-3. I mean, that's best case scenario, right? So best case scenario, you're 10-7. Best case scenario. A couple games flip the other way. You don't win. You should have. Yeah, I mean, you don't know what to expect. You can't blame these like CBS or whatever, whoever posted it, for doubting the Browns, especially they're the Browns.
Well, and every time we have hype, we consistently underperform that hype. So
yep.
There's so an element to that. But all right. Redleg says, with all the changes in the QB room and wide receivers issues, do you expect to see some new razzle-dazzle stuff from Stefanski? God.
No. I don't know where Craig went, but I'm going to say no. I think he's going to stick.
So
yeah, he's going to stick to what he's good at. I mean, Stefanski, that's where he gets some of his criticism, is he is kind of predictable. So I would say that he's probably going to stay with what he does the best, and I would be shocked to see any type of razzle-dazzle from him. Maybe a play here or there, but he's not going to significantly change what he's good at doing.
Well, yeah, we ain't going to have Landry. We ain't going to have Landry throw him to Beckham this year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to be short of a couple touchdowns. Yeah, man, it's tough because we did get cute a couple times and it won us games, right? Like that Dallas game wasn't won if we didn't get cute. And that's probably one of the most.
What is up with your internet?
I don't know. It's been bad the last couple of weeks, dude.
Craig's has?
Yes.
That's weird. He usually has really good internet. I don't know what's.
Yeah, he's freezing a lot lately.
Yeah, I don't know what his issue is, but.
Yeah, I agree with Chris here. What Chris is saying, that no way he could predict it without knowing the suspension. I think that's, spot on. I don't think anybody could accurately predict anything until you know that, what Watson's getting, and you can take a
Mhm.
deep dive at the, or take a deep dive look at the schedule at that point and see,
Yeah, absolutely. Yep,
see who's a win and who's a loss at that point. I just,
for
other
sure.
than that, I don't think you can
Mhm.
really predict anything, honestly.
Yeah, you're right.
Burrow's predicted to miss some games due to appendix surgery. Yeah, that just came out today, right? I believe that just
No,
came out
he's
today.
not. He ain't missing any games.
I don't think he's going to miss any games, but I think the appendix thing came out today, right?
Yeah, he's not gonna miss any games though. He's just missing. Probably gonna miss a few weeks. I mean, it's a
Right.
appendix. They take it
It's
out. They take it out
appendix isn't too
laparoscopic,
bad.
man. You're literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. He'll be fine.
Yeah, Red Leg, there is
Oh, he's back
something
again.
special. There is something special about paying Spectrum like $125 a month for their Premier Holy Shit package so that I can get almost a gigabyte of download per second to not be able to do this show. It drives me absolutely insane. I'm going to clip this up and send it to him, tag him in, all that good stuff. Assholes. And you know what? I have no other options here. It's driving me nuts. I've never had an issue before the past couple of months. So, I apologize for that, guys. All right. So you guys address the Burrow with the appendix
Yes.
surgery. All right. How close are the Browns to the Bengals? All right. So again, variables. Let's just assume Deshaun Watson's QB1 because he's going to be for the foreseeable future when he's playing. The Browns are pretty close. The primary advantage that the Bengals have over the Browns is they have one of the best wide receiving cores in the NFL. It's really hard to match up with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And, Joe Burrow, like it or not, he's good. Running bald man. Hey, listen, I reset this thing every time before the show, both my router and my modem, and I kick everybody off the Wi-Fi. So trust me, I've been trying it. Ryan, I think that we're pretty close to the Bengals, but I think that we got to be careful not to underestimate them. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair point. I would say we're decently close talent-wise on paper. I would like to see the Browns consistently play at a level that the Bengals have played at recently. I think the Bengals could take a step back on defense this year. I think their defense significantly overperformed last year.
Hendrickson.
For the level of talent that they had on that defense, they had some, they got hot down the stretch and had some really good defensive games. So I don't expect them to have another full season of that. So I think that they could take a step back. I know Jesse Bates has got some stuff going on with his contract and he's not showing up, and, you never know what's going to happen with that. Something happens if he requests a trade, who knows? That could significantly impact the defense. But yeah, I mean, on paper, we're close. The Browns, I'm a skeptic, just like anybody else. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm a skeptic, and I will not overestimate the Browns. That's bit me in the butt too much, and I'm not going to say that we're going to play at that level until I see it consistently come at that level. So.
The Bengals play a division winner schedule this year. Gonna show at least a little bit, and that's gonna come in and play a role. Listen, they've got Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is going to be something that we're going to have to deal with unless they decide not to pay him. They're not the first. They don't like to pony up for players. But, I would have to imagine that they're going to play him. Red Leg, I'm with you. We should make those T-shirts. Yeah, they have Joe Mixon. They have Joe Burrow. They've put a lot of assets into their offensive line. And that wide receiving core is ridiculous. So,
yeah,
on offense, absolutely. And even with Watson in there, it's the wide receivers put him over the edge, I think.
For sure.
Defense, I think the Browns are better on defense. And, Rich.
On paper.
Rich. All right. So, I'm going to piss some people off here. All right. Josh Rosen is horrible at football and should never wear number 19. That's sacrilegious. Retire 19. Hashtag Bernie. Okay, so listen. And you guys are going to tell me it's because of my age. Oh, and I love Bernie, but I don't know if Bernie did enough to get his number retired. I'm sorry.
What? Are you smoking crack?
Craig.
Retiring numbers in football. All right, retiring numbers in football. It should be something that's very hard to do. It should be something very hard to do. What did Bernie listen? No, seriously. Let's hear me out. Hear me out on this. Bernie Kosar is a Browns legend. I get that. But
and you retire
what did he seriously
legends numbers. You retire legends numbers.
Not just any legend. He's a Cleveland legend. He is not an NFL legend.
I'm not saying the NFL should retire his number.
Why should Cleveland retire his number?
Because he's a legend.
Why?
Because he's a legend.
He's arguably like what is he? Probably arguably the top 5 best Browns players of all time.
Yeah, by far.
No. No, maybe
it's got at least top 10.
Not
I mean,
overall.
top 10 is not a stretch.
No, not overall.
I don't know.
Not even close. He's not a top 5 Browns player all time.
Oh, yes, he is.
Overall of any position. No. Absolutely.
Okay, give me 5, Greg. Give me 5 right now. Jim Brown.
5 off the top of my head. All right.
Joe Thomas.
Graham, Jim
2.
Brown, Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas.
I'm at 3 right here.
Yeah. Okay, well, you don't have 4 and 5 because the 4th one's Bernie.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go. All right. Listen.
Greg, we're going to lose viewers, man.
You're 3, Greg. Where's the other 2? You're on the spot.
I love Bernie Kosar, but like
you're still at 3.
Whose numbers have we retired? I don't even know. I have to Google this. Google Browns retired numbers.
You're a Browns fan.
I don't know who the hell they've retired. I wouldn't even be upset if they put Bernie Kosar in the Ring of Honor, bro.
What's wrong with Bernie Kosar being in the Ring of Honor?
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't even be upset with that because he deserves it.
No. There's 3 numbers
Is he
retired.
already in it? He might be already in it.
There's 3 numbers retired by the Cleveland Browns. Otto Graham, Jim Brown, and Lou Groza.
Yeah. The 4th one should be Bernie.
No, the 4th one should be 73.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one. The 5th one should be Bernie. He's top 5.
I don't
There's
know
nobody
about
else.
That.
Who else you got? Who else you got? Phil Dawson?
Rich.
He played on a broken
ankle. He's 100. All right. So let me just go with this. Let me go with this. Hold on. I just Googled this. The top Browns players of all time, right? Just to see what comes up. So I can understand.
Based on who?
Just hold on. So I can understand an argument, maybe not for top 5, but top 10 definitely. So the top 5 that come up are Jim Brown, Ozzie Newsome, Otto Graham, Lou Groza, and Joe Thomas. And then Bernie Kosar is number 6.
Listen, all time. Retiring,
all time.
But listen,
all time.
Listen, it shouldn't. So no, I'm still saying I don't know that they should retire his number.
I gotta disagree with you on that one, Craig. Sorry.
Okay. All right. I figured you guys would. I told you I was going to piss some people off. I love Bernie Kosar, but like retiring a number is a big deal. Such a big deal.
I get it.
There would be a good argument for Clay Matthews. Absolutely. Sure. Am I losing you guys?
No, you're here. I see you.
Okay, I feel like I'm cutting in.
Oh, by the way, I got it on my phone, so I can barely see the comments. But horrible football players don't make it to the NFL.
Okay. I'll tell you what.
I still don't, but he should be wearing 19. He should be retired.
I think that a reasonable prerequisite for a team to consider retiring a number should be the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Oh, there it is. There it is. Jose, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, don't
Jinx,
lie.
I
You
owe you
read
a
that
Coke.
before you said it.
I did
What do you
not.
say?
I did not. The Clay Matthews one brought that to me. This one, red leg.
Yeah.
That brought that to my mind.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that take.
So, all right.
I think when you retire a number, you're looking at somebody who's had the biggest impact on your franchise.
Which is Bernie Kosar.
Yeah, I don't think that it has to be a Hall of Fame caliber player. I think it's somebody who has, who's known, you think of the Cleveland Browns, Bernie Kosar is one of the names that you're going to think of. I mean, it's just, he's done the most, for the franchise. It's just, I don't know.
Did you guys see the story how he cheated himself to the Browns?
Yeah.
Some way. So I forget how he did it, but there was somewhat a supplemental draft, and yeah, I can't remember. But he wanted to go to Cleveland. It was it. He wanted to go to Cleveland.
Yeah.
He was from Boardman.
Yeah.
Wanted to go to Cleveland. Wanted to play football here, and was a great quarterback when he was here. I mean,
yeah.
He's
I like Running Bald Man says, I can understand the league saying we aren't going to retire your number unless you're a Hall of Famer. That's one thing. I could get that, but not for a team.
Are there any the league can't retire a number, right? The league can't do that.
I don't think so. I don't
okay.
know.
And I mean, even if you did, you'd run out. We only have so many numbers, right?
Right.
So
didn't baseball retired Jackie Robinson's number, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Well, my headphones batteries are dying, and I'm not going to charge them. I'm done talking to you guys tonight.
All right.
So,
all right.
Later.
See you, Barry.
He's out. Later, buddy.
All right. Miles Austin even asked Bernie if he could wear number 19 when he came to Cleveland to rot. Did Corey Coleman ask Bernie Kosar? I wonder.
I don't know. That'd be interesting to know.
All right. Paul Warfield.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if we're going to go with beloved players that were faces of the franchise, think about what Cribbs did for this franchise. Think about what Phil Dawson did. Do you think those players should get their numbers retired? That is the biggest honor you can have. There is
you're talking about retired
from a franchise,
right?
Getting your number retired. The barrier to entry should be so high for that to happen.
I don't know about that. I don't know. We could talk about that one all night. I don't know. That's a tough one, dude. I could see an argument for Cribbs. I mean, arguably the best returner of all time.
He was
close.
Probably the best returner we've had. I mean, the only other returner we've had that was that electric was probably Metcalf that I know of. He was our leading receiver for a year or so, right? He played a Wildcat for us. The dude touched the ball so much for Cleveland when he was here. And he was tough. He was tough, and he was a jack of all trades.
Does he still have the return touchdown record?
I think it's tied.
Is it? Okay.
I don't know if he ever broke it either. I think he was either tied with Leon Washington or Devin Hester.
Okay. Yeah, that'd probably be a toss-up between him and Devin.
Peyton
Forgot
Hillis.
About Devin.
Yeah, and you know what? I've tried making the argument that Cribbs was as good as Devin Hester, and people don't like that one either.
That is a tough one. Devin Hester was a different kind of football player, but I mean, their return game-wise, they were both pretty electric.
Yeah. He was the only option for a while. That is true.
100%.
He was pretty much our only option. All right. Speaking of Josh Rosen, which kind of sparked this discussion, Rosen's been kind of a journeyman. He is, he was a high draft pick the same year that Baker Mayfield came out of college, and Sam Darnold and these other guys from 18. What was it? Lamar Jackson. Rosen was a guy a lot of people wanted in Cleveland. It's weird to see him here now. I think we're his 5th or 6th NFL team. I know you're high on Brissett, but some people want to believe that Rosen could push him a little bit. And I would almost think that there might be a case to be made there, not because I'm high on Josh Rosen. I'm not a Josh Rosen guy, but I am not high on Brissett at all.
Such a hater, dude. You're such a hater. I think that the Rosen signing was more of a detriment to Dobbs than it would be to Brissett. I think he was probably brought in because they're not liking what they see from Dobbs, and they need 4 quarterbacks for the for training camp. So, I mean, they usually go in with 4 arms, and that's probably really what it is they wanted somebody else, and he's probably going to battle for whether or not he makes the roster or Josh Dobbs makes the roster. So, I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Chris, I'm not saying Josh Rosen is a starting quarterback or QB2. I'm just saying that I disagree with anybody that says Jacoby Brissett is a shoe-in QB2. This is a lose situation. It is also Brissett's 5th or 6th team.
It is
okay,
not.
Maybe not 5 or 6. It's
like his 3rd team.
4th. Patriots, Indianapolis, Miami, Cleveland. 4th.
All right.
I would rather have Keenum. Red leg. I would rather have Keenum.
Oh my God.
Keenum can win with fucking Dearness Johnson in the backfield.
Keenum can't throw more than 10 yards. His arm is like a limp noodle, Craig.
Keenum,
come on.
Oh, stop. No, you know that you're confusing his scouting report for Watson's. Watson's got the noodle arm. Listen, Case Keenum is a backup quarterback, but he took the Vikings to the NFC Championship game with Stefanski's offense. Listen, it can happen. It can happen.
There's a reason why he's not on this team anymore, Craig. They put him in for 1 game, and he looked like Father Time was out there playing football. I mean, come on.
It was more than 1 game. It was more than 1 game. And listen, what was it? The Oakland game that I went to? I think it was the Oakland game I went to. That was an interesting game. Derek Carr looked a lot like Case Keenum that game, but I mean, he was throwing up punts for our guys to pick off, but he
won the game when it mattered.
He did, I guess so. That was probably, strangely enough, one of the best games I've ever been to. That was like the loudest I've ever heard the stadium. That was insane.
Yeah, it was
Rosen equals Browns oh shit plan. Listen, I'm with you guys, but I think we're already there. Brissett should. Oh my God, I don't want to be like the most vocal hater ever, but like
you are. Every show you tell everybody how bad you hate this guy.
God, he'll have like 4 bad games and then come in and light the world on fire in week, like on his 5th game, and everybody's gonna come tell me I'm wrong. Set 5-6 last year starting. Rosen 5 wins in fantasy football.
I can't even handle the show. What's going on right now? Oh, Josh Rosen got like Wally pipped by his own team because he's so bad. They were just like, we don't even want you anymore. Like, we're drafting somebody else because you're that bad. Like, it took him high.
You're basically free, but we don't even want you as a camp arm.
Yeah, we're done with you. Like, just go somewhere else. Like,
Rich, come on. I am not hating on Bernie. I'm saying that just because Bernie's at the top of Brown's lore, if you want to call it that, doesn't mean he should have his number retired. I am not saying Rosen is greater than Bernie. I am saying Rosen is greater than Dobbs, maybe.
He's better than I could give that. I can understand that. For sure. But that still means he's 3rd on the depth chart.
If Brissett was an actual viable option, he'd be a starter somewhere. Jose, this is what I've been trying to say. And everybody wants to cherry pick his stats and say he's thrown 33 touchdowns and 6 interceptions or whatever. Listen, nobody wants to count Baker Mayfield's 2020 year. Everybody wants to ignore Brissett's 2020 year. It's a double standard.
Okay. I understand the argument.
Stats.
I understand that argument. I get it. I understand that argument. But at the same time, you're talking about a guy that's efficient. Like, he's at least going to make the right decisions for you versus somebody who's not. So I would rather take him over someone like a Marcus Mariota. He could start for the Atlanta Falcons, couldn't he?
Marcus Mariota could start for the Atlanta Falcons. Absolutely. He's
No,
only
I'm
competing
saying
with
Brissett could start
Ritter
for
right now.
Atlanta.
If you ask half of the Browns fan base, Mariota would start over Baker Mayfield, and that's who we should have gone after because we couldn't get
That's
Derek
not my
Carr.
question. Do you think Brissett could start over Marcus Mariota?
No.
You don't think so?
No. And I can't stand Mariota.
I think he could. I think he could.
I don't know. Guys, like, I'm going to root for him when he trots out there. And it's going to be him. I know it's going to be him. And I'm going to root for him when he trots out there. But guys, I'm not going to sit here and try to trick myself into believing that he's going to get us to 4-2 or 5-1 or something like that just because we have an easy schedule our first 6 games. Because I think that we're going to be lucky to escape at 500. Lucky. If we are 500 at the end of whatever time period he is, when he's in there, I will be ecstatic if we're 500.
If we're 500, I will not owe you a steak dinner.
God, you know what the best part about betting steak dinners is? It doesn't matter if you win or lose, you still get a steak dinner. It's just if you have to pay for it.
You're not lying.
But no, I don't know, guys. I'll root for Jacoby. I mean, he's going to be the Browns quarterback. I will root for him, but I will not stand here and pretend or sit here and pretend and preach that it's okay, because it's not okay. We should be worried. If Watson gets substantial suspension, we should go after Jimmy G. I am with you 100%.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The 49ers have no more leverage to trade him than the Browns did Baker Mayfield. In the market for Baker Mayfield, tank Jimmy G's market. The most logical landing spot for Jimmy G is Seattle, the team that was rumored to be in play for Baker Mayfield. But here's the thing. San Francisco is not going to trade him within their own division to Seattle. They're just not going to do it. So they will take a handful of peanuts from the Browns or the Giants or the Falcons. I can't really think of any other teams that might make sense to trade for Jimmy G, as opposed to releasing him and then having to face him twice a year in Seattle.
For sure.
I agree that we have plenty of cap space. We have plenty of cap space. I've been on the record. I am not a Jimmy G guy. We were talking about this before the Watson thing, like ad nauseum. I am not a Jimmy G guy, but Jimmy G is 5 times the quarterback that Jacoby Brissett is well, when he's healthy for those 10 games a year. Look, he got San Francisco to the Super Bowl and everybody gave Colin Kaepernick the credit. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if Watson ends up with a 10 or 12 game suspension, out of nowhere, I would be completely fine with Jimmy G. I think he is a better quarterback than Brissett. I'm saying that Brissett is feasible if you're on a short suspension. He can get you to 500, maybe a game or two above that. But if you're talking about a full season, obviously he's not going to take you to the Super Bowl. I mean, you're going to have better luck with somebody like a Jimmy G for sure. And they got 48 million in cap space, so screw it, just do it.
Listen, Chris, I'm kind of with you here. He isn't even cleared to throw yet. It's fine. There's time. He had a surgery. He's on the right path. I would say if Watson gets more than 8, you go get him, because just because Watson gets 12 or 8 games or 10 games or 12 games, it's going to take a serious toll on him to continue to not play. He's going to have to get back in. And if it doesn't, if he's not ready, we're going to need somebody there. Jose says if Brissett plays a significant amount of time, wasted year for Miles Chubb-Clowney, I'm with you. It's hard. Listen, it's hard enough even if we have Watson for all 17 games. The AFC is not a layup. The firepower in the AFC is insane. Insane.
For sure.
The influx of talent into the AFC is insane. We could, in theory, have one of the better rosters in the NFL on paper and still be a wild card team with Deshaun Watson and nothing going wrong. on offense or defense.
sure.
No crazy injuries, no nothing. It's not a shoe-in. It's
sure.
not a shoe-in.
I mean, this season is definitely not a shoe-in. The only thing that bringing in Watson this year does is solidify your quarterback position for the next however many years. I mean, you finally have a quarterback that's, you know, arguably top 10, top 5 in the league, whatever you want to argue. But I mean, you know your position, you know who's your quarterback. You don't have to worry about it. He's super athletic and he's a super good quarterback. I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, that's the only thing that's guaranteed at this point. This year could be flop, or this year could be, you know, a great underdog story. But the only thing that's guaranteed at this point is that, you know, you have your starting quarterback moving forward. So hopefully, you know, something falls their way. And I still say it's going to be 6 or less, but you know, we'll go with that.
All right. I'm checking the Twitter comments because Twitter's not cool enough to let us show them in the show. Andy Gibbs, dawgstable.com contributor. You guys may have seen him on the show before. He commented. He said, I have seen a lot of comments about Rosen wearing number 19. There's 99 numbers and 90 players on each team. Mike Harley Jr. is wearing Ozzy's number. 14, 32, and 76 are retired. Corey Coleman also wore 19. That's a great point. Ozzie Newsome. I might put Ozzie Newsome over Bernie Kosar on that list. I don't know.
All
right.
I don't have a problem with anybody wearing his number. I mean, I'm not comparing him to Bernie Kosar by him wearing the number. So.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think, okay, so I posted the link in the comments. It looks like this. It's a StreamYard link. We're going to chat with you guys for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're going to call it a night. And I know Red Leg just tried to pop in, but I don't see him now. The NFL is like when LeBron played for Cleveland, and the NBA West is crazy tough, and the East was easy. Listen, the NFC for certain teams, the LA Rams, all right, in particular, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in particular, they have a fast track, in my opinion, just because of there's so much talent that left the conference and landed in the AFC. A lot of talent left. The AFC just gets tougher. The NFC surely got weaker. They lost Russell Wilson. They lost Matt Ryan. You know, that's just the beginning. The AFC, Deshaun Watson stayed within the AFC. I'm forgetting probably really easy big names right now because I'm multitasking here, but let's bring in Red Leg. Red Leg, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. How are you today?
Good, you?
Oh, pretty good. Who deserves to have their number retired more, Ozzie Newsome or Bernie Kosar?
Oh, Bernie Kosar. Come on.
Oh,
Like, I mean, if there were a permanent face of the franchise, even though, you know, Otto Graham's this unbelievably good, you know, quarterback, Bernie Kosar is who you think of when you think of the Browns. I mean, if you were asked probably any other team almost, I'd say, hey, who's the most famous Browns? I'd argue that probably newer fans probably would say Joe Thomas, but most fans have been around for a while would probably say Bernie Kosar without a doubt. So, but definitely Bernie.
Oh man, I sure had the unpopular opinion today. That's for sure. Listen, Devontae Adams, NFC to AFC, Khalil Mack, Chandler Jones. Yeah, you guys are nailing it. There's so much talent that left the NFC and came to the AFC. I thank God we're not in the AFC West, right? Like that is a nightmare division. I would argue that over the past few years, the AFC North has been one of the toughest divisions in the NFL. I don't know if there's a tougher division than the AFC West this year. Alignment to the Bangles, absolutely.
I know it's the Brown show, but does the Chargers have like any excuses anymore? I think they have like an all-star squad on defense now, right? I mean, Khalil Mack, they brought in J.C. Jackson. I mean, like, who else do you need? You have like a Pro Bowl player at every position now.
Yeah, there is no more excuses. And all right, so we should talk a little bit about the rest of the NFL sometimes. We could just do like maybe 5 to 10 minutes a week or something, because especially there's a lull around times like these. All right, we got to talk about this. Kyler Murray has homework, and there is not only homework, a demand with real ramifications if he doesn't do his homework, to the tune of $100 million Not only does he have homework that if he doesn't do it, he could lose $100 million. They're telling him how he has to do his homework, and he is not allowed to have the TV on, not allowed to have the radio, no video games, no nothing. What do you guys think about this? Is this going to be the new norm? Is this going to be something that NFL teams are combating constantly? How do you feel about this? How would you feel if you were a Cardinals fan, Ryan?
I would be concerned about the character of my quarterback. If my team has to put stuff like that in a contract, like, wouldn't you be concerned about, like, what the heck is this guy doing on his off time that they're so worried about him not playing video games when he should be watching film? Like, I guess that's the way I look at it. I don't know, but it's so abnormal to me. Like, I don't even know how to even go anywhere else with that.
They don't trust him, right? Like, they felt the need to put that in there. And it's not a small contract. He's the second highest paid player in league history if he gets that money from that contract. It surpasses the total value of Deshaun Watson's contract if he were to reach those incentives and meet those requirements. What's interesting is I was recording the Gingers Talk Football podcast with my brother, and we were talking about this, and he mentioned, like, hey, listen, it's not only that, but all these bonuses, they're tied to voluntary workouts and playing time. It is literally 100% tied to participation. It's like and you know, he came out with comments and said, listen, I've always had the cognitive ability just to go out there and not have to study and just see everything before everybody else sees it.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, we thought Baker playing Halo was bad.
Right?
I just
they want an adult in the room. No, you know who's going to be Baker Mayfielded next is Justin Herbert. If Justin Herbert doesn't get them to the Super Bowl in the next 2 years, they will forget about what he accomplished in his first 2 years. They will forget about his rookie touchdown record. They will forget about the things he did do, and they will want an adult in the room.
And
Justin Herbert.
How many head coaches have you had, and how many different staffs? One.
You know, it's going to be a, you know, very similar to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, all right, we're not talking about Baker Mayfield. I can't do it. I'm over it. I just want
to say that to Kyler Murray, if you're listening, I can be contract worked out. I can, you know.
You're right.
Kyler Murray just needs a VPN on his router so they can't tell.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Turn that VPN on, Kyler.
he gets a deal with like a provider like NordVPN. Thanks to NordVPN.
Right.
Right. I can play video games
all day long.
Man, that's just so much money to give to somebody where you feel like you have to put that in writing. It just doesn't make sense to me.
No, I mean,
never mind the fact that, you know, everybody thought Baker was short. I mean, the dude's 5'10". He's 5'10". He's not big. He's a hair over 200 pounds. And the dynamic of that team is so weird. Like, they have this absurd amount of success in the first half of their seasons. And then they have like the most disappointing second half of their seasons ever. They're two different teams, first and second half of the season. I don't know, but Kyler Murray, Julio Jones went to Tampa Bay. I'm trying to think of anything else that kind of happened around the NFL. Oh, defensive coordinator, anonymous defensive coordinator, really picking on Lamar Jackson this week. You love to see it. Redleg, anything you want to bring to the table? Any questions you have, topics you want to bring up?
Let's talk about some Steelers butthurt this week over the Madden ratings that Mr. Watt scored less than Myles Garrett. He is just not that good, people. I was watching that going, you can't be serious. Like, Garrett's better than him. Like, I was enjoying that. Just watching the tears flow down their faces. But
look,
no.
We were talking earlier about offensive line injuries and our offensive line play and how that can kind of really make or break how the Browns offense is going to perform. And when we played Pittsburgh second half of last season, that we gave him that record, right? Like, without us, he does not hit that record. And it's one of those things where like Watt is great, right? Like, he is a great pass rusher, but he is not above and beyond, or that far above and beyond as they feel he is.
No.
Garrett has earned that rating, I think. Nick Chubb's
it makes
squatting
me
is starting
vomit to say it. Is I would say the only thing that probably could be argued for Watt in comparison to Miles is that he's a little bit more consistent on impacting games than Miles is, because Miles tends to kind of disappear in games every once in a while. So I know the arguments for double and triple teams and all that stuff. I mean, that, everybody's going to say that, but somehow Watt does get through that stuff. So I think that could be an argument for him. But as far as the overall player, I don't know. I'd say Miles still edges him out on that one for sure.
Mean, when that was going last year, that play or that game, and the Steelers fans were like, "Oh, he's so good." I went through an entire game and counted how many times Garrett was blocked with 2 blockers or more versus Watt, and it's stark. Watt is only blocked with 1 guy the vast majority of the game.
Right.
And and it's just that's not being facetious. That's just literally what's going on. He's not a good player. I think everyone would agree that if he wouldn't have put on brown and orange, yeah, buddy, come on,
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd take him in a heartbeat. And honestly, it could be argued that Pittsburgh's defensive line is better than the Browns for sure. They have more depth, and that allows other teams or the inability to double team people like Watt, because they've got someone like Cameron Hayward in the middle. They got Stephon Tuitt. They got, they got all these guys that are young, and, they had Bud Dupree at one point. And I know he's a linebacker, but I mean, he's still rushing the quarterback like crazy. So, I mean, they have a significantly better defensive line and have had for several years. So, it's easy to put up. Well, it should be easy to put up stats like that when you're that level of a player, that caliber of a player, when you've got those kind of people, on the defensive line with you. That's why I argue for the Browns to go out and get somebody like Sue, because a guy in the middle like that just opens so much for your defensive ends and helps so much. It takes so much load off those guys. When you don't have any play at the defensive tackle position, you're expecting these defensive ends to be rushing the quarterback, but then at the same time playing the run, and it's almost impossible to do that. So, I mean, to me, it's like I said earlier, it boggles my mind that the Browns haven't made that move yet, because that's just a no-brainer plug and play person for your defensive line that's instantly, elevates it. So I don't know.
Let me ask you guys this, and Red Leg, I'm curious to think of what you think, and you guys tell me in the comments. What do you think about this 9 p.m. time slot? Listen, Tuesdays, there's like 5 different Brown shows on at 8 o'clock, and it's not just about competing with these other shows. There's so many good programs that are on, but it also, we used to get to talk to a lot more people that are on these other shows, and we want to be able to bring them in. We feel like for you guys that are watching, there's less daylight, there's less things going on. The kids might be in bed by now, things like that. 9 p.m. just feels far more natural. You're not mowing your lawn, you're not doing that kind of stuff, so grilling out. But, how do you guys feel about the 9 p.m. time slot? How do you, Red Leg, what do you think? You like it?
Yeah, I mean, this works out fine. That was kind of part of the problem, too, is you get like, it's that you have a lot going on at the same time with different shows. And like I said, different people doing different things. So, I mean, this 9 o'clock slot will be nice for me. I've been just balls to the wall busy. So for me, the time just worked out better today, but it'll probably work out in the future, too. But it works out. I think you'll be able to get more access to people. Like I said, there's not 5 shows. It'll be, as far as one, I have no idea.
Right.
But it works out. I like it. No problem on my end. So
yeah, and you know what? We used to have guys like Jason Hand on. Outstanding guest, outstanding podcast he has. Jacob Roach, Nick Carnes, those guys are live at 8 on other channels. Go watch them and then come watch us, and we'll get to be able to bring them on, and maybe we'll get to go over there and talk Browns with them. So
heck yeah.
Give us your feedback. If you don't like it, let us know why. If you do like it, let us know. That way we know. We want to talk to you guys. Again, it's not just for us to talk. We want to talk with you guys. So let it know. I'll be more consistent with 9 p.m.
I feel it, man.
I feel it. Got hashtag.
Jose posted an awesome video. He had won some trading cards. He opened them up with was it your son, Jose, you opened them up with and posted the video on Twitter? That was awesome. I was so happy to see that. But Red Leg, how's the card collecting going? Are these Baker Mayfield rated rookies cheap now, or?
I have not. I've been just so busy finishing up my degree. I've been just work mode for this crap. I think it's ridiculous that the 21 product is still being released in 22, and we're in training camp now. The wife enjoys collecting cards as well, particularly Nick Chubb. And so she's like, I'm just really not interested. I'm kind of the same way. But Baker, I think Baker cards, we'll see. I won't be surprised if he starts. It goes ham. He likes the underdog mentality. But man, yeah, I've been kind of slow, man. Just been so busy doing other stuff lately. So, but
I get it.
I just hope Panini starts shipping out some of the redemption stuff that's almost 2 years old now for me, and maybe you'll get it someday, maybe not. So,
yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of both Sam Darnold rookie cards that I invested him, hoping that he would sustain a little bit of success in Carolina. But how's Carolina's O-line? Listen, Carolina's strength is their defense for sure. The O-line's okay. They're neither extremely good or extremely bad as far as I know. But are you curious how they're going to do? Are you curious about how it's going to affect Baker? I would imagine there's a train of thought here.
I do have to admit something. I sent off some cards to hybrid grading. Yeah, right. I'm like, I'll try them out, see how it goes. And I have to admit that apparently stupidly now, I sent off a Jake Fromm card to get graded. So.
Oh, wow. Do we know if is he still in Cleveland?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I know they worked him out, but I don't know if he stayed around. But yeah,
I actually looked up Carolina's projected depth chart at their offensive line position. They've got a left tackle. They've got Ikem Ikwanu. I don't know who that is. They have a Pat Elflein from Ohio State as their left tackle or left guard. Bradley Bozeman, center. Austin Corbett, right guard.
Oh.
And then Taylor Mutton is their right tackle. So, I mean.
So, to address Chris's comment here, Baker depends on great protection. To an extent, I agree with you. He is an improviser. And listen, here's my thing. And this is why I'm not sure that I feel like Seattle would have been a really good fit for Baker. Carolina's kind of, Baker needs to be in a pass first, high risk, high reward offense. He needs to be able to afford to be able to throw 30 interceptions in a year. I could see him throwing 40 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Brett Favre style. Personally, that's me. Pass first, air it out downfield, take shots, nonstop. I don't know that. It'll be interesting that Carolina w. With Chris. What's that?
As long as you get that W in the column, that's all that matters. You can throw 40.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Seattle didn't pull that trigger, to be honest with you.
Seattle would have been an outstanding opportunity for him, especially with, I feel like we talked earlier about how if we play so many games with Brissett, we're wasting time when it comes to Chubb and, Garrett and some of these other guys. The same goes for Seattle. DK Metcalf's looking for that next deal, right? Tyler Lockett's still making I think he's going to make $29 million or some shit like that this year. They have Chris Carson had to retire today because of his neck injury, but they have Rashad Penny who lit the world on fire at the end of last year, and they have Kenneth Walker ready to go right behind him. There is potential there. They have Gerald Everett. They have guys there, and Seattle tanking for Stroud. Listen.
I wouldn't want to I wouldn't want to face that team. I'll tell you what.
But
here's something I thought about real quick here. Let's say Watson's gone 10, 12 games, longer than a short time. Okay. Did the Browns then spend that excess time that's not necessarily expecting to win, right? They're going to have Brissett or whoever. Did the Browns spend that time rotating guys in for experience then? Kind of, yes, we're playing professional football. but our season, whatever. I mean, or they just pound home to try and win. I mean, is that something you think would be possible, or is it more?
I think they got too much young talent to waste a season like that.
Sure.
I just think their core guys are young enough that they're probably, if it turns out to be some type of massively long suspension where things are, not looking great, I could see him going out and trying to snag somebody like Jimmy G and go that route and hope that he can get you to a playoff run or something like that. But I can't see them wasting another year of Chubb. I mean, I say that, but they may have to. It just depends on what happens and plays out, right? So, personally, I don't see it being a decision to do that.
Yeah,
but it could be a forced decision.
Sure, I understand. Yeah. Do you think? I don't mind going again, Craig. Do you think that with re-signing Johnson, right? Now we have Kareem Hunt, and we've been seeing these articles coming out with the whole, what's going to happen with Kareem Hunt? I mean, does that bring validity, or is it such a, Chubb and Hunt such a, 1-2 punch that they're going to try to duplicate that with Hunt or with Johnson to save money, or is it? What do you guys think about that?
I personally don't think Hunt's going anywhere yet. That's just my opinion. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think that the 1-2 punch in what he adds to an offense is too dynamic at this point. He's not showing, that he's significantly degrading in health yet. It's going to be a season to season thing. Everybody has injuries. So, he's still young enough that I think he brings enough to the table on offense that I think he's just the easy target for people in analytics to say, yeah, he's probably that one that's going to get out of there. But, don't sleep on them getting rid of Johnson. They got him locked up for for a cheap deal. And, he's a solid backup running back. And if they need somebody for Chubb or Hunt, they've got that guy. So, I mean, I could see them getting rid of somebody like Johnson before Hunt, to be honest with you. That's just me.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Hunt lends so much versatility to the offense where, he can go out in the slot, especially if we have depth issues at wide receiver. And Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt is easily the best 1-2 punch in the NFL. Dearness Johnson, though, I mean, the guy's talented, right? Is he ever going to be on their level? Probably not. But we actually needed Dearness Johnson last year. We needed him, and he came through and he performed. Especially against Denver. I mean, we were close last year, right? Like we were close. Like it was not a good year, but we were close. We would have not been as close without Dearness Johnson. 100%. He was such a force in that game, and we needed that game. Jose is saying Felton, future thoughts. Felton's the odd man out, in my opinion. Listen, he was a good flyer. He has versatility. Unless he were to, they've been saying, right, that he's a running back, but really what he needs is time with the wide receivers. In my opinion, I think that he could convert potentially. If we traded Johnson, what round pick could we get? 4th? That's a tough question. And this is why I think that we won't see any movement with Chubb, Hunt, and Johnson. I don't think that the return will be worth.
I think a 4th would probably be the ceiling.
Yeah,
right? I mean, that's probably best case scenario.
I mean, do you think they got him locked up for cheap enough? Do you think they got him locked up for cheap enough that his money's almost immaterial at this point? We got him so much, he's on the team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's definitely not about money at this point. And I think that they fully intend to keep all 3 of those guys on the roster this year. It would not surprise me to see them try to sneak Ford to the practice squad. The Felton, I mean, he better be busting his ass in training camp or he's not going to have a job.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit to me. He doesn't fit. It's the hybrid guy just doesn't fit for me.
I mean, if you had say 3 or 4 more slots, would he fit then? Just as that kind of what happens now, we can kind of throw him in there then, or just
I mean, if you have 3 or 4 more allocated roster spots, then sure. Like he's right up there with the guy that like I can't keep 4 running backs. Have we ever kept more than 4? I don't think we have. And we have we have really tough decisions to make at running back. The only thing that makes it easy is it's a clear top 3, right? That fourth is going to be what's interesting. And there's a lot of competition for that spot. It would be a lot easier if we had 3 or 4 more roster spots. And then, then you keep them. Maybe you could use them more in the wide receiver room. But
tweener guys don't typically last very long in the NFL unless they play for someone like Bill Belichick, who loves taking those dudes and just throwing the ball to them over and over and over outside of the backfield. So, I mean, it doesn't fit the mold of what we do in Cleveland or what Stefanski likes to run on offense. So I think they're really, really hoping that he's going to like break out and just be electric and like be this weapon that they can throw in the slot and do sweeps and, pitches and stuff like that too, that, but he's just, I don't know. He's too small. He's a tweener. I don't see it.
Make it hiding behind the
Jose's got an outstanding Jose's got an outstanding point here. Hybrid guy was Debo, and Stefanski offense hybrid guy could be fun. Listen, you are absolutely correct, Jose. Yeah. What's different about Felton is he is I think we can safely assume that he's undersized to play wide receiver exclusively. Yeah. These guys that like Debo or Kadero Patterson, these wide receiver first, running back second guys, I think that there's a spot for these guys in today's NFL. Yeah. I think Felton's swimming upstream, trying to be a hybrid guy.
I mean, I think he was. Right. I mean, I think we're kind of heralded him last year as like the next Eric Metcalf, and kind of what expected. It wasn't who he was. So.
No, that lends to what I was saying earlier. The first step in being a Browns fan is to overvalue your players and have unrealistic expectations. And listen, I am not. God, I feel like I need to defend myself, and I don't know why. I'm not like an overly negative person. I feel like.
I'm usually the negative one.
So you're speaking from years of being a Browns fan, years of experience. It's lessons learned that not everyone learns.
It's like we're looking at our undrafted free agents, and we're like, this guy's a Pro Bowler. This basketball player who's never played tight end before. There's a spot for this guy. He's
right.
But he's only got one.
Jose, I appreciate that.
It's fine.
Who's this Jose guy? Get him off the show.
I love Jose. Jose is awesome. If on Twitter, he's a millennial Browns fan. Jose is one of the nicest people in the world. And he's a longtime friend of the show, but he hasn't, I think he was saying this time slot fits more with the schedule. Ryan, I think that he joined a lot more prior to you becoming.
It's all good. I'm just giving him a hard time.
Yeah, Jose's awesome. But all right. Anything else anybody wants to bring to the table? Any questions you guys have in the comments before we end the show? This is a marathon show. It's okay. I'm having fun. Show. We had fun talking talking Browns, especially for like guys, man. Not a whole lot going on.
Yes.
Oh man.
Sure. Did you guys see the new kind of hype intro videos that are shown today? Those look pretty cool.
I didn't see them.
Yeah. I think that the first time that Deshaun Watson takes the field and is introduced and runs out the tunnel, that stadium is going to go absolutely berserk.
I think it's going to go both ways. Berserk with and
I think the boos are going to be far and few in between. To be honest with you,
I don't know, man. I'll be there. Yeah. Either way, for sure.
Right?
Yes, Chris. Yes. I cannot say this enough. Yes. You are my soulmate.
Jose,
yes.
He asked a question earlier that I saw that we didn't get to. Do we have an NFC team we root for outside of the Browns or anything like that? Ryan?
I will say that when I was a child, I mean, obviously I was born into the Browns. I had Browns Steelers parties in my basement with my dads and uncles and all that stuff. But I was a Cowboys fan. I always liked the Cowboys. Emmitt Smith was one of my favorite football players. That time with Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and those Cowboys teams were super awesome to watch. But I bleed orange and brown for sure. So, but that was a team that I liked when I was younger.
Redleg, what about you? Any NFC teams or alternate teams?
I guess the only team I ever rooted for beside the Browns really when I was younger was the Bills. But that kind of faded. I still support them, and I like seeing succeed. It's just kind of similar to Browns. But the other team I actually rooted for hardcore while the Browns were gone was Tampa Bay. And so, like Mike Allstott, I love that dude. And so, when they went to the Super Bowl, the Browns are back at that point. I'm like, I kind of like it, so.
Right.
But, yeah.
Mike Allstott was such a beast, man. What a beast.
That was such a good team.
At my age, and I'm 33 going on 34 years old, I was born in 88. I was born into a pretty much exclusively a Pittsburgh Steelers family.
Wow.
I remember going to Browns games before they left. It's some of my earliest memories. I couldn't tell you anything about them, but the Browns left, and I remember my parents explaining to me that the Browns left, and they all rooted for Pittsburgh. And I was always a rebel, right? Like, I'm not rooting for who mom or dad or the family's rooting for. So for me, like any other kid, I was always a fair weather fan. It was at that time John Elway. I hated the Steelers though, because my family liked the Steelers. So, Steelers versus Cowboys in the Super Bowl, I'm rooting Cowboys. I like the Patriots. I like Elway. I like some of those guys. NFC wise though, and keep in mind the NFL's done some restructuring since then. I don't really have another team, so to speak, but there are certain players that I love to root for. Matt Stafford. I love rooting for Matt Stafford. Drew Brees. I loved rooting for Drew Brees. There's just certain guys that I root for, and I don't know. Not necessarily a favorite team though.
I feel it. I mean, at this point, I'm just a Browns fan, and I appreciate great players, legends, and players that impact the game at a different level. And I just like watching players like that play. So for sure, I understand what you're saying.
And when the Browns came back, I latched onto the Browns and never looked back. But it was, I don't know. I just try to be a football fan in general, and then just root for the Browns.
Aaron said those Colts. I mean, I just think about those Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison, and they had some great teams. So understandable.
I say the last couple of years, I really found myself being just a bigger fan of the game. Browns fan, but just a big fan of just watching football.
Yeah,
just to watch them play, and it's just you just see just so much different. You get different perspective. If you only ever watch the Browns play, you just don't know.
Yeah,
and I know it sounds weird, but it's all football. But it's good.
That's what I loved about the Cowboys when I was a kid is they had such an amazing roster. It was like almost watching like Hollywood on the field. You know what I mean? Like they were just that team that was so flashy and just Deion Sanders and Irvin and Smith running all over the place
and Aikman and
it was just they had this roster of like amazing players that it was just really cool to watch them play at times. So
Let me ask you guys a question. Ryan, how old are you?
36.
36. You're a little bit older than me. Red Leg, how old are you?
I'll be 39 in November.
39. All right. So we've all endured Browns from 99 until, let's say, 2017. Let's just take 99 and 2017. What do you think is worse? Do you think it's, and this might be a silly question, but like I often wonder things like this. What is worse, being a Browns fan from 99 to 2017 or being a Buffalo Bills fans in the early 90s when you lose 4 Super Bowls in a row?
Browns fan. Yeah.
Think so?
I think so.
I would
Could you
much
take
rather
4 Super Bowl
lose
losses in a row as
never
a fan, though? Can you imagine?
Sure.
I would almost rather be consistently bad than to know I was that close.
I don't know.
And consistently fall short that many times.
Yeah, but they had so many seasons of just
4 in a row.
Excitement.
They lost to Mark Rippon.
I know, but they had so much excitement on those teams. Like we've just never had that. Like
I can't imagine. Like, I mean, if the Browns went to the Super Bowl once, just made it amazing. Right. Going 4 times, I'd lose my mind. But I just the fandom. It's worse to be a Browns fan because even though you've lost, the Bills lost Super Bowl 4 times. That's fine. You made it. You made it to the game. Like if you're a Bengals fan, you're feeling that after last season. We made it to the game finally.
Yeah,
and if they go 11 and 6 this year or 6 and 11,
you can't cry if you haven't been to the party. You understand? Like it's.
I mean,
that's why the win by Baker in the playoffs was such an impactful win for people our age because we've never experienced it. Like it was just like, holy shit, that was amazing. Like I just watched them win a playoff game. Like, you know,
I get it to an extent, but like, look at the Packers. The Brett Favre era from the early 90s till now, still now, Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Two all-time greats that consistently have had their team in the playoffs and had success. What, 2 Super Bowls?
I think this next step next to those two would be like, Drew Bledsoe into Tom Brady.
And like, am I crazy though for thinking like it would almost be more frustrating to have that much success and consistently fall short?
No, but when someone says they're a Packers fan versus a Browns fan, they don't get laughed at.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like I want to see my team win. If I'm consistently winning and I'm that close, then I'm okay with that. But when you're consistently bad, you have so many questions. Like how is it happening that we have so much turnover from staff to ownership to general manager, and still can't put a quality product on the field? Those types of questions you don't have when your team wins. So when your team's winning, you're enjoying that. And then it gets to the end of the season. If you don't make it, you're like, damn, man, at least we know we're going to be good next year. And hopefully we're going to get there next year. The Browns can't say that. As Browns fans, we're hoping. We're grasping at straws and overanalyzing every single damn thing because we want to win so bad. We want to have 2 seasons in a row where we can say, oh my God, we had amazing seasons in a row. We were so close. I would give anything to say we were that close. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, I don't know. It's totally different to me, but I understand your point in it for sure.
I mean, look at the 2020 season, right? We have a crazy season, go to the playoffs, beat Steelers in their home, right? Yeah. And then we go to 2021 and the year just falls apart. And as a fan base, we don't go, I mean, some of us don't go, and freak out. We're like, oh, okay, well, we lost, it sucks. Let's rebuild and work it. Like we're more mellow as a fan because it's kind of what we expect. I mean, I don't expect us to lose, but I expect us to, I don't want to say have issues, but we do.
Right.
We have issues.
We go through every season and we go, what's the next thing that's going to go wrong next year? What's going to happen to it? Is it going to be injuries? Is it going to be a player's going to do something stupid? Or, it's the consistency is what I want. That's what I crave. I want consistency. I want to know that my team is going to be competitive every year. And I want to know that I don't have to watch a game on a Sunday and turn it off at halftime because it's going to be a 30-7 game already. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what else can I do today?
Because there were legit seasons.
I'm doing it wrong. I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't turn it off.
Well, I mean, there were seasons before I did that because you would get to halftime and you knew there was absolutely no chance this team was going to win this game. You could just tell that this team was not even near the level of who they were playing. So, I mean, I would give anything to just have consistent winning seasons, back to back to back.
Yeah.
All right. Last topic, and then I think we'll close it out unless somebody else has anything. Certain coaches have been on the hot seat and turned it around in a year. Zach Taylor was on the hot seat last year with the Cincinnati Bengals. Kevin Stefanski, we could put him on the hot seat, so to speak, this year. Does he get a pass because of the uncertainty, especially if Deshaun Watson gets suspended? Or is this a make or break year for Kevin Stefanski? Ryan.
I got to see a full season of him with Watson to say that.
All right, fair enough. Red leg.
I think Stefanski's safe. I think he's the consistency Ryan's talking about. The Browns probably pulled their head out of the butt, and they're going to go with Barry and Stefanski work as a team. That I think is safe.
All right. Just a thought. I think Andrew Barry is certainly safe. I think that he's done everything Haslam has asked him to and more. Whether he was told to or not, we'll never know. If he is on the hot seat, run the damn ball. 100%.
Yeah, 3rd and 20, let's go.
Yeah.
Stefanski's contract, I'm not sure when it's up. This would be year 3, right?
It's usually a 5-year contract.
I think it was a 5-year deal. Yeah, I think it was a 5-year deal, but 5 years with a coach is almost unprecedented. Is it unprecedented since 99?
I mean, what year is Tomlin on right now? Like 45?
Listen,
right?
They've got to figure it out. Some of these programs haven't figured out. You gotta get through the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's a cycle, and you have to acknowledge that you're going to trend down at some points in time, and you can't jump the gun and get rid of the coach. I think that if you give almost any coach that you feel is qualified to take an NFL head coaching job 10 years, you are going to see at least some success come out of that. And the continuity and things like that is huge. And you'll know if you're doing a good job if your subordinates are getting promoted or landing in other places.
Right.
Tomlin, his entire tenure in Pittsburgh has not been the prettiest. They've done a lot of sneaking into the playoffs. All right, here we go. Jacoby Brissett gives you a glimpse of what it would be like with Watson. Obviously not the same caliber of a player, but a dual threat that's going to help the O-line and offense when Watson gets in to acclimate quicker. Got to give the coach time, need this year and the next. I would agree with some of this, Aaron. I do not agree that Jacoby Brissett is a dual threat. I think that that's a narrative that's kind of been taken and run with. That's not accurate. I think he is less mobile than Baker Mayfield. Listen, perception is some quarterbacks are dual threats. There are people that think Patrick Mahomes is a dual threat. Patrick Mahomes has no business running the football at all. There are. He came out of college, or he came out of high school into college, rated as a dual threat quarterback, highly rated, actually. That was a long time ago. I don't think he's a dual threat. I think he has no business being on the ground or, tucking and running unless he has to. His ceiling as a mobile quarterback is what Baker Mayfield was. That's his ceiling and unlikely to achieve that. Hot take, Mahomes has a down year. Listen, you lose Tyreek Hill. They're designing that offense to dink and dunk that ball, and it is not going to be good for his numbers, whether he does it correctly or not. Chuck Noll kind of blew it first. Speaking historically, look how that turned out, shaped a whole franchise. There's a couple coaches we've had that I'm convinced if we would have stuck with for 5 years would have figured it out, and we could have been a perennial winner. Is Zach Taylor an overrated head coach?
No. No.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
How can you say that about a coach that took his team to the Super Bowl?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know enough about him, to be honest with you.
I don't care who he is. If your coach gets you to, your coach has to coach. There's still things such as situational coaching and things that coaches have to do throughout the entirety of a game to make sure that they don't screw up a game. We've seen that with Stefanski, and that's one thing that Stefanski needs to do better is situational coaching. He makes errors a lot. So you want to see your coach grow as he is a head coach and stop making mistakes like a rookie head coach would make. And Zach Taylor got his team to the Super Bowl. I mean, that should be enough said right there. Now, I don't expect him to get there every year, but you can't say a head coach is overrated when he gets his team to the Super Bowl because history has shown you it is not easy to do that.
Jose has a point here. Great QBs make great coaches. And sure, that is something that's been, a great experiment lately, right? Like, was it Belichick or Brady or some combination of both? And I think the jury is still out on that, but it does hold, some level of, you're right, because you look at Drew Brees and Sean Payton, you look at Ben Roethlisberger and you look at Mike Tomlin, Brady and Belichick. There's just been, but it's not always true. Manning didn't always have the same coach, right? Tony Dungy to the Super Bowl, and then they ended up with Pagano and a couple other guys in there. Not always the case. Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll after the Matt Hassel. Pete Carroll showed up when Hasselbeck was still there, right? It was Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander. I mean, he's been there quite a while.
I thought Russell Wilson was his first quarterback. I could be mistaken, though.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not 100% sure on that. I have to look it up, to be honest with you.
There is,
Jesus.
you could argue not the case with Baltimore, though, right? Harbaugh's been there forever. They've gone through Flacco. He got some good play out of Flacco. We pondered if he was elite. Some considered him elite. There was some turmoil before and after him a little bit, and then they kind of hit it off with Lamar Jackson.
It's just hard
tough.
for me as a Browns fan to say, "Oh yeah, your coach is overrated," when I haven't had a coach in my lifetime take me to a Super Bowl. So,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it just to me, it's just like you got to the dance, man. You were there. Like, all power to you, dude. You did what you needed to do. You had your team overperform and do what they needed to do to get to a Super Bowl. So, there's still
Bernie
coaching
or-
involved in that.
Was it Bernie or Bill Belichick? Listen, admittedly, like I wouldn't know this. I don't think.
Yeah.
I will say that there's something to be said for coaches on their second or third try that figure it out.
Right.
Which is why I'm not a huge fan of first-time head coaches. Stefanski so far has been kind of an exception to the rule, but we've had ups and downs, right?
For sure.
We've criticized his play calling. He's also been coach of the year, something we're not used to in Cleveland. But Belichick very well could credit some of his success to the fact that he had some experience in Cleveland, and he took that experience and he built off of that in New England.
So I tell people all the time, like, you want to know why Bill Belichick's good? Because he was in Cleveland first.
Right. Like,
jokingly, but
how
how
many of us are good at something the first time we do it? Not very many of us.
Yeah.
Is right. The guy in Philly won the Super Bowl, then was unemployed a couple years after. Absolutely. And that guy, sir, was a Cleveland Browns quarterback in the early 2000s. Ozzie Newsome was the original architect of the Ravens. Puke is a Browns fan. It's hard, right? Ozzie Newsome is hard. That's the only reason why everybody will want to retire Kozar's jersey over Newsome, is because he has given so much success to the Ravens.
Hey, I think he still works for him too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, he just retired, right? And he still holds some sort of like an advisory role or something like that. Stefanski got the Browns to win a playoff game, and now we're criticizing his play calling. Listen, all right, Chris, we can't say things like that when we made some interesting Baker Mayfield comments earlier, because this is multifaceted here.
I don't care how good a coach is. Nobody's perfect. They're going to make mistakes, and they're going to make decisions that can be analyzed and overanalyzed and critiqued and criticized and all that stuff. So I'm not saying that Stefanski's a bad coach by saying that he's made rookie mistakes and made bad decisions in situational games where he could have made better decisions. That doesn't mean he's a bad coach. That just means that he still has flaws. He's a human being, and he needs to do things more consistently. And that's what wins you games in the NFL is consistency. And, if your players aren't performing consistently or your coach isn't performing consistently, those things significantly impact the outcome of a game. So, I'm not saying he's a bad coach. It's just recognizing as a fan that, he makes mistakes just like everybody else.
I mean, even with that, like you're saying, consistency, especially last year and after 2022 was a year of COVID/injuries. That is so much inconsistency,
right?
That you just can't control it. Like watching Conklin come back his first game, totally fine, and seeing him walk off the field and his knee give out, you're like,
right?
Oh my god, you're like, oh my god, it's just
right.
You can't control that,
right?
So this is an interesting comment. Jose said it just came out him and Baker were at odds. It's understandable. People are going to butt heads, right? My thoughts, he exposed Baker for what he is to get him out of a job. That would be a pretty serious indictment on Stefanski man. That's like tanking, right? That's like sabotage. That's treason. It's treason.
Neither Stefanski or Andrew Berry drafted Baker. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility to say, you know what, you may be banged up, but I want you, this is your contract year. I want you to go out there.
Intentionally play to his weaknesses, though? That would be like telling Lamar Jackson, like, you can't run the ball. Don't do it. Not even once. Don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It could be ego speaking, too, where Stefanski has to come out. He's a head coach. You can't let a player be like, well, with this call, the kind of stuff that's going on last season.
I don't think that they sabotaged him, but I wholeheartedly believe that they put him on the field and said, listen, you need to perform this year. We need to know what you can do. I understand you're banged up, but it's the NFL and everybody's banged up. And if you're not going to shut it down, then I need you to go out and perform to the best of your ability. we need to see what we have in you. This is your last year of opportunity. So, I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility for me, for sure.
All right. Comparing him to Zach Taylor, who knows this year? Maybe Taylor makes errors to cost a game or two. The last Steelers game, Baker got blown up on multiple games. Stefanski kept giving single coverage on Watts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Baker was like, hey, it's not his fault. The kid got thrown in there. So
Yeah.
Baker knew. Wasn't the kid's
Right.
fault. I mean, say kid, but he's an adult. Like,
But see, my point from earlier, these are things that we would not be overanalyzing if we just had a consistently winning football team. Just saying.
hey, I've been thinking about this too. I know we're getting kind of late in the broadcast. With all the changes going on and all that kind of stuff, do you guys think that we're actually in the middle of a rebuild year versus bringing in just the set pieces we need to get going? Do you think we're actually in the midst of a rebuild versus kind of just over the hump getting there?
Yes and no. Defense, I feel like, all right, so Barry comes in, right? And that first year, we put nearly 100% of our attention on the offense, right? And then following that, these past 2 years, we focused on the defense, especially in the offseason, I feel like, with the exception of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
They put enough pieces around Baker, I feel like, that they're like, all right, this should keep us competitive. We switched gears. We went to defense. We're going to fix this side of the ball. I think you're going to see more of a rebuild on the offensive side of the ball after this, because our question marks on defense are the interior of the defensive line. We have some depth concerns, but for the most part, we are going to retool our tight ends and our wide receivers, and potentially some of the offensive line on offense, right? Chubb and Hunt, great. Watson, great. Amari Cooper, great. Batonio Teller, great. Everything else, nearly everything else, even Njoku is a question mark. We paid him on potential, not performance. That's not a whole lot of certainty. Whereas on the defense, you know, we have youth in our defensive backfield. We're comfortable with the linebackers. I think the linebackers in the interior defensive line is like lower on the priority list for them. We have Garrett longer term. We're going to figure out a solution for Clowney. Those are pieces. Aaron, Conklin. Listen, Conklin's a question mark. I'm trying to click it. Did you guys lose me?
No,
Nope,
you're good.
you're there. Maybe you lost us.
Okay. All right. Conklin. Conklin is kind of a question mark. We were talking about him earlier, Aaron, before you got here, about him, whether or not he could be a cap casualty, his ability to stay healthy. When healthy, he is an all-pro. He is one of the best at what he does, and he is an asset to this team. Nick Harris, question mark. Jedrick Wills, question mark. Harrison Bryant, David Njoku, question marks. DPJ, Anthony Schwartz. They are all question marks.
Let's not forget Stephen Carlson coming back.
Stephen Carlson, Liz, but we know on defense that we have Ward. We are confident with Emerson and why am I losing it? Who was our first rounder last year? Defensive side
Jock
of the
or
ball.
Newsome.
Newsome. Ward and Newsome. We have JOK. We have Myles Garrett. We have the foundational pieces, the anchors on each of those position groups. Depth. We're going to build depth, but offense, too many question marks. Ryan, what do you think of that?
I agree. I mean, I've been saying it all offseason, and I've been taking heat all offseason on Twitter. You know, I'm not sold by any stretch of the word on the receiving core. I'm not sold on the offensive line. You know, not sold on defensive tackle. So, I mean, they have question marks for sure. And we talked about it earlier in the show that if, you know, it takes one major injury on that offensive line to any of those guys, and, you know, you're significantly impacted in what you can and cannot do on your offensive play calling. So, you know, they got some work to do. Let's just put it that way. I mean, you know, pump the brakes on the expectations for this year for sure. You know, if you're a Browns fan and you're saying, you know, we're going to the Super Bowl, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, pump the brakes, man. You know, let's let the reality set in a little bit that we've got some work to do. We've got some question marks. And this might not be the year for the Browns. It might be next year and the year after that when we've got a full season with Watson and a full season with him and Stefanski and a full season with him and the playmakers and all that stuff. So, it's important to be realistic as a Browns fan.
I mean, especially since most of us just got done beating the dead horse that we blew our window last year. So what does that mean?
Right.
We were running it back mostly.
Right.
But we blew our window, but we're okay. Like, which is it? I don't know. But,
Right.
Jacoby is a question mark. But here's the thing. As much hate as I'm giving Jacoby, outside of maybe Jimmy Garoppolo, what is actually available or on the market, there's a reason why we haven't gone and done something else. Jacoby is right now the best case scenario.
For sure.
That doesn't mean I'm going to talk myself into thinking that he's a starter and, we're going to flip him for a first rounder next year after we go 8-0 with him so Watson can win us a Super Bowl. That just means that there is a – here's the thing. The weird thing about the dynamic of the NFL right now is it's almost like if we're looking at a supply and demand situation, there's a plethora of serviceable quarterbacks right now as starters, and there is a lack of backups. You know what I mean? So, like, it used to be you had 10 or 12 guys that were sure things, maybe another 6 guys that were kind of starters, and you just accepted the fact that the rest of those 32 sucked. They sucked. You were screwed. Now we have arguments about, whether or not the 32nd best quarterback in the league, could be a starter for any one of the 10 in front of them. It's weird. But when you go into the backups, there's a lack of options there, in my opinion. So Brissett's our best case scenario unless we were to acquire Garoppolo, I think.
Yeah. It's kind of like the like we look at this way. You look at let's say people compare Michael Jordan, LeBron James, right? Who's the better, Kobe, whoever you want, X person, right? Jordan came out of a system, in the 80s, right? We've advanced nearly 40 years, kind of old, right? So scouting is improved, technology is improved, rating players improved, ability to communicate with players and psychological, right? They're products of different systems. So if Jordan was the elite of elite, who was Jordan playing, right? Was he playing the elite? You're starting to see it in your comment there, Craig, that some of these quarterbacks are so much better, right? That the guys that are still elite and pro level sports players, the football players, are still pro, but they're not that extra, whatever. And we're starting to get kind of spoiled. It's kind of spoiled with the like Mahomes and the, that kind of stuff. I think it's part of the problem. It's not they're bad; they're just not exceedingly good.
They're not generational.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like it'd be like saying, comparing Nick Chubb to God, who's the worst running back in the league and this top player. God, I don't even know. Like perfect time to draw a blank. You know what I'm saying? Like Nick Chubb, I think most Brown fans, probably most NFL players, would be like he's a generational kind of talent. Like, would you compare him to, the hell, Dearest Johnson? No, of course not. They play in the same team. They, they're in the same position. They're both in the NFL. Arguably, Johnson could be a starter somewhere.
You ain't lying.
Right?
Yeah.
But you would never compare them in the same aspect in the same way. So that's kind of I think we're kind of getting spoiled in that kind of respect, that we see greatness as the standard, not the exception.
Sure.
So.
And this lends to the argument, like, listen, I read off once my top 10 QB list for the NFL that I had unveiled on Ginger's Talk Football, but we were ranking some quarterbacks. A top 10 list shouldn't be that hard. It is very hard. And figuring out that 10 to 15 is even harder. And you get into the 20s and you're like, these guys are good. Like in a world where I feel like I can't say this to Browns fans, that where Baker Mayfield is a bottom 5 quarterback is insane to me. It's insane to me. If that's the opinion you hold, that's insane to me still. Because there's a plethora of talent, right? It's really hard to rank them. But yeah, I don't know. I just hope we figure it out, guys. I just hope we figure it out this year.
That's the biggest thing, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else have anything they want to touch on before we get out of here?
Oh, no, maybe not. I don't know.
I feel it.
I think we're gonna start on a new segment next week. Ryan Angelo's replies to Chops. We're gonna screenshot them.
What? What are you
Most of the
talking
QB
about?
talent is the AFC. Oh man.
What did Ryan say to Chops this week?
Right. No, what do you guys want to see? Like, let us know. Like, even if you're watching the replay, like, put a comment on it. What do you guys want to see? You want to see some fantasy content? You want to see some betting content? You want to see, you got any segment ideas, things like that? We're going to get in the regular season and we're going to listen. We're in the off season. We're in a lull. We've been talking for 2 hours now,
Right.
which I did not see coming at all. And it's fun. And I'm grateful that, that I still have all you guys here with us. But
Send us a DM too. So DM me on Facebook, DM me on Twitter. If there's something you want to chat about or something you'd love to see us chat about, just do it, man. Shoot me a message.
yeah, absolutely. We will all take those under consideration. We want to know what there's a lot of Brown shows, right? And we're all talking about, in some regards, the same things.
Yeah.
What do you want to see? What is not on the market yet that you guys, what type of content do you guys want that is not available yet? We will bring that to you. You know, this is about the fans, right? Like, Redleg's on here, Barry is on here. We put the link in the comments. You guys are all commenting because this is a discussion. This time next week, there has to be a decision, right?
There better be. That's all I'm gonna say.
I hope so.
I'm gonna say that
This has gone
my
on far
feeling
too
is that
long.
hopefully by the end of this week, but I mean I feel like
Ryan, you're muted. I
I'm
think.
not.
I hear him. I hear you.
It's just
Okay, you're
me?
fine.
Okay. Yeah, no, my thing is hopefully by the end of this week, and I'm assuming that's going to happen, but we'll see. If it goes past this week, then I legitimately have absolutely no idea what Sue Robinson is doing. She must be on a beach in the Bahamas with no laptop, none of her reading materials, and we are just pawns in this game of life that she loves to be in.
Living her best life.
Yep. Exactly.
I think it'd be kind of cool to do like a segment like I don't know, it's like the best play of the week. I don't know if you guys can do that or not. Maybe like put like X's and O's or something. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe like the worst play of the week or something.
Yeah, you know what? And some of our segments we do during the regular season, they'll be back. You know, our offensive and defensive dogs of the week, things like that. You know, we'll have obviously more to recap, more to preview, things like that. We may end up doing longer shows like this, or who knows? Maybe me and Ryan will be like, let's fuck around a file. Let's do a second show or something. Who knows? But idea to improve the show. GoFundMe for Craig to get a new router. Listen, so this has been a thing for over a month. Both this show and my other show, after every show, Ryan or my other co-host, they're like, listen, like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, your internet fucking sucks.
Ass, dude.
Like, what is it? What is it? So I am going to yes, Rich, I do believe Condoleezza Rice is a traitor. How dare the NFL allow a conservative to have a ownership interest in Denver? Okay. I'm not getting into politics. But no, she's a Browns fan. She's a Browns fan. She's a Browns fan. What are you doing, Condoleezza? Come on.
Come home, Condoleezza.
Oh,
I mean, seriously. God.
Let's just fuck with the Browns.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
God, you guys are my favorite. All of you. All of you are
like
my
everybody
favorite.
knows except for Browns fans. Like, the Browns organization's probably just sitting there laughing at us. They're like, it's 2 games, suckers. You guys don't know yet.
So Ryan and I may be doing a Saturday show coming up. It's been a while since we've been doing a live show. I will be doing a show for sure. Hookers and Blowberry will be around. My wife may join us in some capacity. So Hall of Fame weekend. And for those of you that don't know, I live in the Canton area, right? I'm 15, 20 minutes from Canton. Ryan is actually in Canton. Hall of Fame week is a huge, huge thing around here. People come from all over the country. They stay, they do all sorts of things. It's a whole set of festivities. My family goes camping, and it may seem like a weird thing, but we go to a campground that's somewhat local. It's about a half hour away from us. Coincidentally, the campground that we go to, all of the tailgating groups from all over the NFL converge on one campground, and they rent out an entire section of the campground, and it is a week of tailgating, and that's where they stay at night, and they're going to the festivities during the day. What that means is myself and Hookers and Blowberry, who also camps out there, we hang out with those guys for a week, and that Saturday, which I believe is August 6th, in the evening, we will announce at some point in time. We are probably going to go live from the campground. We may tour the Browns-Packers bus. We may talk to Nats tailgaters. We may do all kind of sorts of things, talk to other fan groups.
Can you talk to Pumpkinhead for me?
Oh, I don't know if Pumpkinhead's going to be there. Red Leg, I thought you were the new super fan anyways.
I'm trying. I've submitted my candidacy forms.
I'd much rather talk to the Macho fan than Pumpkinhead.
I've heard back.
Who's Pumpkinhead anyways?
I don't know his real name. Yeah, some dude.
No, so Pumpkinhead won't be there. But there's some interesting tow groups out there. Do you know the Lions have one called the Tub Gators? They tow around hot tubs, and they tailgate from their hot tubs.
Hell yeah, we should do a live show from the hot tub.
But yeah, we'll be drinking, eating. We'll probably go live from there as opposed to a bar, which we normally go live from. Yeah. Other than that, no more updates. Check out www.dawgstable.com for written content. We are hesitating to post any clickbait, but what that means is we're not putting out a ton of content right now because there's nothing going on.
I would assume that if we do get any Watson news, we'll probably do an emergency show.
Yes. Code Orange, Wolf of Wall Street gift. Spaces. Up. Spaces. To the spaces.
Does anybody actually know where the spaces are?
Right. They're in the cloud, Ryan. They're in the cloud. We can't explain it. Jose, have them reach out to me. We would love to do some betting and fantasy content both on the show and the website. We're interested in talking to anybody that can provide value to the show and that loves the Cleveland Browns and wants to talk with us. So absolutely do that. We are the Dawgs Table. We are a Cleveland Browns Roundtable discussion show brought to you by Labatt Blue Light, Big Play, and Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. We will see you next Tuesday week at 9:00, unless we have Watson news and Ryan and I are available, or one of us is available to go live and discuss that. Again, go to www.dawgstable.com. And you can get our written content there. We have Ryan, 12 writers. If there's content to put out, we're putting it out.
Yeah.
Hoping Red Leg joins the team soon, although he's been featured on the website.
I have been a guest writer. Yes, I have.
But yeah, we'll see you next Tuesday at 9, unless hopefully we get a decision before then. Until next time, go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.